Chapter 3. Federal and State Income Tax Withholding. There are a number of voluntary deductions. These are elected by the employee to be withheld from their paycheck. For example, union dues. The amounts for union dues is withheld from the employee's earnings and remitted directly to the union. Retirement plans. That's another voluntary deduction. It's withheld and remitted to the respective financial institution. Retirement plans such as the 401k, 403b, these are not taxable for federal withholding. However, it is taxable for Social Security and Medicare tax. Health insurance premiums, medical plans, and cafeteria plans. These are not taxable for federal withholding, nor is it taxable for Social Security tax and Medicare tax. Gross pay. That's all the earnings in a given period. Not all of the gross pay of the employees is subject to tax. Gross pay is different from taxable pay, also known as taxable income. Taxable pay is the amount of pay that is subject to tax. Taxable pay is needed in order to calculate the amount of tax. Some of the gross pay may not be subject to tax, such as 401k retirement plan. Since it's not subject to tax, it must be taken out of the gross pay to arrive at the taxable pay. The tax system is known as a pay-as-you-go system. All that means is that the government wants its money pretty much right away. Employers withhold tax from the paycheck of the employees, and they have to remit it to the government again pretty much right away. We'll learn more how long before they have to remit it to the government in a later chapter. Some employees may be exempt for tax withholding. These are usually the employees that are low-income earners. They did not pay tax in the prior year and do not expect to pay tax this year. Employees could indicate exempt status on the Form W-4 so that the employers do not withhold any tax. The wage bracket method is one of two ways to determine the amount of income tax withholding. The wage bracket table exists in the back of your textbook. The source of it is from Publication 15, Circular E. To use this table, first know the marital status of the employee and also the pay period of the employer. For example, the marital status shown here is single, and the pay period is weekly. Next, look up the taxable pay. That's the wages shown on the left-hand side, the first two columns. It falls within a range, and you look up the tax withholding amount at the intersection of the wage, where the range is on the left side, and the corresponding allowances. However, note that this is the 2020 wage bracket method tables for manual payroll systems with Forms W-4 from 2019 or earlier. For the 2020 Form W-4, the employee completes it. Then the employer uses that information along with Worksheet 2 in Publication 15T. And you see Worksheet 2 here on the slide. Also, the appropriate tax table is used to determine the correct withholding. You see the tax table here also on the slide at the bottom. So that was the wage bracket method using the wage bracket table. There was also the percentage method and the pre-2020 Form W-4. How that was done was multiply the number of allowances by the the figure in the allowance table. So here on the slide, you see the table 6, that's the allowance table. You multiply the allowances by the figure in the table, and then you get that figure. You subtract the allowance from taxable pay. That's the percentage method from pre-2020. Now for the 2020 Form W-4 with the percentage method, the employee completes the Form W-4. Then the employer uses that information, also worksheet 4 in publication 15T. You see worksheet 4 here on the slide. And then the appropriate tax table is used to determine the correct withholding. And you see the 2020 percentage method tables here also on the slide at the bottom. So that's how the income tax withholding is determined using the tax bracket method, or I should say wage bracket method, and the percentage method. Either of those, basically the employee completes the new form, the Form W-4, and then the employer uses that information. Also the worksheet, either worksheet 2 for the wage bracket method or worksheet 4 for the percentage method. And also each of those methods, there's the appropriate tax table to determine the correct withholding.